Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I got to tell you, we've done a whole bunch of shows over time. We just are crossing our 1,000th show. And I don't know that I've ever had someone quite like our guest today. And she is remarkable. She follows her heart. She does some great things. She will listen to her intuition and she'll act on it. She's also a matchmaker, make me a match. You remember that from Fiddler on the Roof?
Oh, I am the worst person to be asking about music and celebrities.
Well, in Fiddler on the Roof, there was a scene, and there was a song called Matchmaker, and
Okay.
it was about one of the girls, Tevia's daughters, wanted the town matchmaker to make her a match. And so you are one of those. You're a love consultant, a dating strategist, and an entrepreneur. You do all of that. How did you get started doing all that?
Oh my goodness. I think well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I love the positive talk and the why are we here? What's our purpose? Which, by the way, I think this answers this question. So I think our purpose transitions in different seasons that we experience in life. So there may be a season where your purpose is really coming out through work, like your main job. And then there may be a season where your purpose is coming out in friendship a little bit more or whatnot. So how did I get into matchmaking specifically? I was in a season where I was learning about different relationship dynamics, why people choose one relationship container versus another relationship container. And I just started this journey. And then I was also in a space where I wanted to work remotely. I'll be honest. I wanted that freedom. And so I started looking for jobs. And when I saw the matchmaking listing, I thought, this has got to be a scam. Like, I've never heard of this. Who does this? Other than I did see the show Millionaire Matchmaker, and I thought that's super cool, but that was years ago. So I didn't even think about it. Well, come a couple of months later, I ran into a lady who was doing matchmaking. And I said, wait a second. So then I went back to that job posting, applied, and then it turned into a career and something that I've fallen in love with. Then that opened doors to dating coaching, to just opportunities that sometimes I feel so blessed. Like, who is this person who gets to experience all this? And I know it's a gift of God. I know it's something that right now, God works through the magic through me for other people. And so it's been a blessing.
That is just awesome. So for those that have never, like you were before you got experience with it, explain to our audience what being a matchmaker is and what they do.
Yeah, so we are your magician. I'm just kidding. What we do, we have a science lab, and we basically take your list and we concoct, all the little potions, and then we pop them out. That's what people think we do. That's not what we do. Now that's a joke.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be pretty interesting.
If we hit that point, I'll be golden. No, what we do, to be honest, is we are essentially your lawyer in love. We're your best friend that will tell you the things that are hard to hear. We will challenge you. And then we have access to a database and a pool of people that we will go through based on your criteria, aka your wish list. And we will try to find people that meet that. And we will introduce you to them. And we will set up your date. We will make the reservation so you can go meet them. If it's a video date, we'll set it up online for you. We will make sure that person is vetted properly. And so you're showing up to the date in your full romantic expression and just seeing if there's a connection, seeing if this is a quality person you can continue giving time to. We also will listen to the feedback of the person you go on a date with, and we will share any constructive feedback that we feel you should know. So you'll grow in dating. You will grow with us is the big thing. A lot of people say, will I meet my person? For sure with you. And here's the reality. If I were to say, yes, you're absolutely going to meet your person working with me as a matchmaker, honestly, I'd be lying to you. Because here's the thing. To choose your person is not a three-way decision. It's a two-way decision. It's between this individual and this individual. What we can do is introduce you to people that we believe are a very strong fit for you. And then you will walk the path of going on several dates with them to see if you want to choose them. And the other flip side is we will help you grow. If you have a limiting mindset, which a lot of people do in dating, we will challenge that. We will turn over stones and say, well, have you thought of it this way? So working with a matchmaker is an amazing experience. We will challenge you. We will help you grow, and we will introduce you to people, and we'll make it fun for you. And we'll hear your feedback, and we'll be with you on the lows, because dating is tough. It's a hard journey, but it's also a really fun one.
Only if you can find people that are vetted, that people trust, that, because you're right. And I've always wondered this, and perhaps you can help me with it, is that we meet so few people in our day-to-day lives, and the folks that we work with, and at the store and at various places and stuff. We don't get a real good sample of people that are available to us. And a lot of times, if you were to ask, and I'm sure that you've experienced this, if you were to ask people, okay, what are you looking for in a woman or a man? And I don't know, they got to be cute, they got to have a lot of money, they got, and they got to be somebody that I can, but they don't really have a concise idea. You kind of bring that out in people, don't you?
Yeah, so everyone does have an image in their mind of someone they would like. Now, what we do as matchmakers is we need to almost pick apart, is that image a girlfriend material? Is it a wife material? Is it a long-term partnership? Where are the points that you are being so non-negotiable in a healthy way? And where are the points that you're actually holding yourself back from what it is you really want? May it be looks, may it be, there's so many avenues. It's so nuanced that we can go down that path. And the funny thing is, a lot of people, when I say, you know what, tell me what you're looking for, just give me the wish list. Speak to me like you're talking to your friends. Don't even think that you're talking to a matchmaker. And funny enough, a lot of people, for the most part, will say, I want someone kind, honest, hardworking, loyal, full of integrity. And I always say, to be honest, if that's what you were looking for, you would have found it, because there's a lot of people that fit that. There's something that you're looking for that you're not finding, or that you're holding yourself back from. And while, yes, we do meet a lot of people, are we open? Have we set the intention to be open and to receive the right people into our life?
You were just describing my relationship with a dog.
Well, that can be fiercely loyal, you know? They're unconditional dogs.
Yeah, exactly. I always say that was the only one that when I walked into my house always was happy to see me.
Yeah. And that's why I tell people in a partner, while you can get a lot, and a lot can be a whole package, what you know, if it's a girl looking for a husband, I always say in your husband isn't meant to be your group of girlfriends. You know, so what you're looking for in a husband, you have to be aware of what is it in your list that is stopping you. Because when we think of relationships years ago, and how there would be a dedicated courting stage, there would be a reason that these two people are merging, whether it be kingdoms, contracts, family farms, etc. And while that definitely had its downsides in many ways, the good thing is it had a higher purpose that was uniting forces and giving people a bigger reason than themselves. And right now, with that removed, unless you intentionally know why you would be uniting forces with someone, it does make it really hard, because now you want everything in one person. You want them to be your lover, your co-parent, your co-confidant, for some people, the co-business partner, and then, you know, your best friend. So you're looking for all of this in someone that they cannot provide, because we, you know, ourselves can't even provide all of that. We can't provide the transcendence that we're looking for. So my biggest encouragement is get clear on what is the type of husband or wife, if we're talking about moving into, you know, dating for marriage, what does that person need to embody? And not necessarily what job do they have to have, because jobs can change. We can be fired tomorrow. But what toolbox do they need to have? And a toolbox is something that, regardless of external circumstances, this person will still have. Does that make sense?
Oh yes. Oh, it, but but it is so hard to find that person, especially when you don't know what you're looking for. But in a lot of cases, we don't even believe. Well, you tell me. And the people you work with, do all of them believe that they are entitled or that they deserve the person that they're looking for, or are they? Is it more pie in the sky, hoping for something, but they don't really honestly down to earth believe that they're worthy of having somebody like that?
It's so many different forms of everything you just said there. We may have someone who says, I want this, and maybe there is a bit of energy, you know, of entitlement. Maybe there is in another client a bit more feeling unworthy of love, you know, not quite feeling like they deserve it. And so every person they meet, they kind of push them away without consciously really knowing it. So what I try to do with every client I work with is really meet them where they're at. And how I can do that is I have to really meet myself where I'm at, you know, and that can be very humbling sometimes, because, you know, our job as matchmakers is there's not space for judgment. There's a lot of space for discernment, but you know, everyone has their stories and their traumas and the experiences that they have been through in life. And when they come to us, they're coming for a reason. There's a problem that's been happening, and we are the solution, but we're the solution in so many different forms. You know, it could be something that is, hey, we need to work on you believing that you're worthy of the love you are asking for. And so, going back to, we can't guarantee you'll meet your person, but we can guarantee you'll grow. And, you know, that would be a lot of inner work that would develop. I had a client years ago who, she didn't meet her person through her set of matches. However, it was so beautiful to see from the first meeting to her last meeting, her inner confidence growing. And she was a woman who was in a very high position in work where, on the outside looking at her, you would probably say she has confidence. But in the romantic world, there was not a lot of confidence, and it showed up in a very controlling way. Like, oh, I'll just pay for this, I'll just get this, I'll just get the door, like I'll jump in and fill the awkward silence. And we worked a lot on just relaxing, just being worthy of the minute and the breath that you're in. And at the end of working with her, she had said, I feel so much more prepared and more confident to date, where I'm not actually even worried about meeting someone, because this has been such a confidence builder that I didn't even know I needed. And that is the really beautiful thing when we receive a client like that, where they're open to the growth.
When we come back from this break, I want to ask you, do you work more with men or women? And then I want to get into Anya herself, the deep
No.
the deep spiritual awakening that
Okay.
you had, and who you are today, and that you follow your heart, and you do things in a particular way. And I want to get into that, because it is so important for all of us to do that, because you found your purpose and the reason for you to be here, and it's exciting. And so, by the way, we're talking with Anya, and your last name again is
Faruque.
Faruque, and she's a love consultant. And sorry, I had to make a joke.
No, I love that. I love it. I feel so celebrated. Thank you.
You should be, because there's people in your world that are helping, that you are helping them find somebody who they wouldn't have otherwise found.
Oh,
And can then lead a life of happiness and joy, which is one of the reasons why we're all here. So again, Anya and the love consultant and I will be right back. And hopefully at one point in time, Brachelle's going to show up, but we'll see. She was driving, and I don't have a lot of. Anyway, we'll be right back. At 67 years young, I never thought I'd feel this good again. But thanks to Purium's ultimate transformation lifestyle, to date, I've lost 37 pounds and gained energy, confidence, and a whole new outlook on life. This isn't a diet. Purium is a complete lifestyle change, giving me all the natural, organic, nutrition-packed superfoods that fuel my body, crush my cravings, and help me burn fat naturally, without starving myself. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just a simple, proven system that works. Superfood shakes, detox support, and real results. If I can do this at 67, imagine what you can do. It's your time to feel better, look better, and live better with Purium. Let's do it now, and let's do it together. Go to www.positivetalkradio.net and click on the Transform You to get started. That's positivetalkradio.net. Transform You. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. And hello, Anya. I'm so happy you're here. You are such a fun person. And
thank you. You must be a fun person, because if you can recognize that in me, it's in you.
Oh, very nicely said. Very nice. Because that is so true. But how did all this begin for you? I know you, but I want to go back in the midst of time, back even before you were a matchmaker, and even before that even entered your head, because at one point in time, I had no idea that I was going to do radio and do these shows for a living, or whatever you call what I'm doing. And but tell us about yourself. Where did you come from?
Well, so I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is not too far from DC. And I was in the competitive gymnastics world. So I was actually homeschooled by my lovely mom. At the time, I definitely did not like being homeschooled. As an adult, I have so much appreciation to my mom for that. And she definitely put up with a lot of I don't want to do this homework. Energy, you could say.
Well, you
But
were a teenager, for heaven's sakes.
she would always say, if you don't get this done, you're not going to gymnastics practice. And I would get that work done because I did not want to miss a gymnastics practice. So I feel through being homeschooled, it allowed me to see the world differently. My mom really gave us kids. There's 4 of us. So I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl. So my mom gave us the opportunity to, we could spend time outside. We had such a different lifestyle, and I would say than your typical person growing up. And then I was in the gym training gymnastics 5 days a week for 5 hours. So, because I was homeschooled, I was able to spend time with my family. Then I would go to the gym and train. And so I think the gym gave me discipline that I rely on now in life, such a strong self-discipline. And then the homeschooling gave me just a way to see the world that I don't know. I'd like to think, we're always on a path that we learn the lessons we need to. So saying like, oh, would I have learned those lessons if I went to, say, public school? I just don't think that path was for me. I think being homeschooled, allowing my uniqueness to come through was such a blessing and gave me that ability to now, I think it's interesting because when you're young, you don't appreciate certain things. When you become older, you look back and a lot of things start to make sense that work for you.
Well, and you had a really full life. Now, were your brothers homeschooled too?
Mm-hmm. My brothers were homeschooled up until high school, and then they all went to a private school. I was homeschooled all the way through.
Now, what order were you? Were you the oldest, middle, youngest?
Middle. So I have a younger brother. He doesn't like when I say younger, but I have a brother that is not as old as me. And then I have 2 older brothers. And I, growing up, I always wanted a sister, but now I love being the only girl. I love that I have 3 brothers.
Well,
They're
they
all so
celebrate you
amazing
now.
in different ways. Say that again.
They celebrate you now.
They do. Like, I'm so freaking blessed with them. They're amazing. And I don't think they even really understand how amazing I think they are. Because I feel like I'm this, like, flying by the seat of my pants. And they are so accomplished and so amazing and always pick up the phone when I call.
Well, but you fly by the seat of your pants, but you do it with a purpose. Where did you discover the purpose?
So it's interesting because is there one main point in my life where I could say it clicked for me? I think there were many, many points. Every hardship that I have gone through in life, I've always made the intention that this will serve me. I will grow through this. And I think that's something, I don't know where it came from, but I don't even question it. And so there's main points that stand out in my life, such as, so when I was 18, my father passed away. And at the time, I didn't know how to cope with that. So I handled it in my own way that I didn't know how. I sang music. I put all the pain into lyrics and writing, and because I didn't know how to. I knew I was feeling a lot, but I didn't know how to maybe put that into words. And then I had been through an 8-year relationship where we had broken up, not because of a lack of love, but a lack of vision alignment, as in, where is our 2 trains headed? They're not headed in the right direction. We need to part ways. And that was definitely a very tough breakup where I had told myself this will be the most transformative thing I choose to go through. And I look back now, at the time I said that with just kind of defiance, like, okay, I'm going to get through this pain in the best way. And I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be so grateful for it. I did not feel that at the moment. At the moment, I felt like an entire universe was crumbling. And, I had wanted to get married with this person. I'd seen a vision, right? So now, years later, looking back and seeing how that intention has come to life in so many ways, how I did grow through it. I have so much wisdom. And when they say there's beauty in everything, oh my God, there is beauty in everything, even the hardest pain that you can go through. And I truly, truly think when I kind of look back at all the things in life and someone asked me, they said, well, how is there beauty in everything? Because some things there, what if someone goes through an attack, right? They're on the street and someone attacks them. And I said, well, in the moment, that's not beautiful. And the beauty is you choose how you move forward from that. So it's not an omission that bad things, happen. It's a recognition that yes, bad things do happen. However, you must have the belief that this will work for your greater good. And I think when you do that, and when you really, really surrender to the universe, and when I say surrender to the universe, I really mean surrender to God. I really think the universe listens. I really think God listens and has your back. And recognizing, because for years I thought, you know what, my dad passing away, this is ridiculous. He was such a great person. Why would that be the case? And for years I didn't want to trust God. I didn't want to hear about the miracles. I didn't want to, I was mad at the universe.
Sure.
And through my journey, and even living in one state and then feeling the call to move to Miami and then move to Asheville, in every single step it was this voice speaking, I need blind trust. I need you to trust. And so I think there's so many points along my life that you could say I started to listen to my intuition versus not listen. And then I started to become curious. What more does my intuition have to say? And if I've been ignoring my intuition this long, because for a while, to stay in the romantic relationship that I was in, I needed to kind of shut away my intuition because I kind of knew this is headed in a place that we know it's not going to go right, but I want to hold on to this person.
Well,
So
but your intuition that you knew deep down, you knew deep down for a very long time that this was not going to be the love of your life that you're going to spend 50 years with. But it served its purpose at the time that it did. And then when it ended, had enough intestinal fortitude to say, nah, ain't going to work. And even though it was painful at the time. So, all the things, and I couldn't agree with you more. All the things that we do in life that we have to, I hate to use the word have to, but if we choose to, we can trust the universe and we can communicate with the universe and get messages back from them that will, because they're looking out. This is my personal opinion. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. But they personally are vested in our success.
1000%. And what you said, to jump in there, you
Yes.
said we don't have to, or I forget exactly how you worded it. Now, one of the things I've realized is actually when we boil it down, the only thing we have to do is die. Now, you could step back and be like, wow, that is so morbid. But
But so true.
But it's so true, because when you think of the only thing I have to do is die, the rest is choice. Meaning, let's say there's a red light. You could say you have to stop. There's a red light. Well, no, I actually don't have to. Will there be consequence if I don't? Absolutely. There'll be consequences, probably death. So when you recognize I actually don't have to do anything. I get to do these things. You know, I get to experience pain because I loved so deeply. I get to experience these things. Then it becomes a little more empowering because you realize, yeah, you do have a lot of choice in life. From the second you wake up, you choose, you know, and this is a controversial one, whether to grab your phone and scroll on it, or you choose I can turn over and give affection to the love of my life sleeping next to me. And most couples wake up in the same bed, grab their phone instead of choosing to turn in, connect. So, this have to, honestly, I don't even think the word have to is really useful in our vocabulary. I think it should just be replaced with I choose to, I get to, I want to, or I don't want to. I don't want to turn over and connect with you. I'd rather be on my phone, you know?
Oh, that relationship's going to end badly,
Exactly.
because that is so true. And we're talking with Anya. She's the love consultant, and I'm just enthralled with this conversation. And we're going to continue this when we come back from this break because I've got so many more questions to ask you, and whether or not and I'll even delve into my own
I would
relationship
love to
past.
hear some little love from Kevin.
or lack thereof. We'll be we'll be right back after this station break.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We've got a great guest for you today. Her name is Anya. And your last name again, my dear?
Faruque. I know it's a tricky one to pronounce.
And see, I have got this disability. I difficult names I have trouble getting correctly. So I just ask you, and you know your name better than I do anyway.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And by the way, go to our website, which is brand new, by the way. So go to that, consult with Anya.com, and it's ANYA.com. And I gotta ask you, because I doubt you've run into someone like me.
Probably not. So I love that we're on this show together.
Exactly. Yes, because I was a bus driver for 12 years, and there was a gal that I kept running into. She was another bus driver, and so decided to invite her to coffee just as a introduction to see if we would if we there was a spark or we could get along, or if I wanted to even go on an actual real date with her. And and so we talked about her and her past and her where she lived and her kid, and we talked a little bit about my stuff, and one of the things she asked was, well, you were married until 2007, and then when was the last time you were on a real date? And I said, other than my ex-wife? And she said, yeah. And I said 1980. And this was 2017 or something. And that still holds through today. And let me tell you how all of that happened.
Kevin doesn't date?
I don't date.
Okay.
And the reason that I don't date is because they haven't gone well.
What do you mean? Like the dates haven't gone well? Tell me a little more.
No, the relationships that come out of it, and it all happened because I was naive. I was young. I was 15, and I met a 15-year-old girl, and we went and decided to go steady, and I fell head over heels in love with her, and so
That's
we
a
got.
beautiful feeling.
Yeah, oh, it was. I can only tell you it was. And it was a wonderful feeling, and I really did enjoy it. And then we got out of high school, and there was another guy, and who was on the same football team as me, which, by the way, also is a theme of my life. And so we broke up, and I was heartbroken.
Of course.
And so every woman that I dated from then on, I compared to not her, but my fantasy of who she was, which really wasn't her at all. Um,
Right.
but I compared every person to that. And even my wife, who I jokingly say we were married for 24 years, who was the best 6 months of my life. And ladies and gentlemen, if you can't see her face, it's pretty amazing.
Oh my goodness.
And so, but she also, while we were married, there was a gentleman who I had known for 10 years, and she said to me one time, I love him like a brother. Well, I didn't know that she was into incest, apparently, because they had a relationship while we were still married, and then so we ended up getting a divorce. And so I took the position, excuse the expression, but screw you and the horse you rode in on. I have no desire to date women anymore, because every time I do, I end up getting hurt. And so I decided that that wasn't going to work for me anymore. And now at the tender age of 67, I wouldn't mind dating somebody, but I can't find anybody who is lighthearted and loving and spiritual and fun and all that kind of good stuff. So here I sit talking to you.
And on that note, ladies, if you're listening, reach out to Kevin, slide into his DMs. He's looking for spiritual light, positivity, fun. No. So thanks for sharing. I feel anytime people share their journey in romance, it's a vulnerable thing. And I think, how amazing is it, right? That you had the experience of falling in love. And while that's a very tough situation to go through, where someone then chooses someone else, it's so heartbreaking in so many different ways. And sometimes we don't give enough credit to when a relationship, a marriage ends. It can almost be a little mini death, because the person is still obviously alive and well and walking around. They're just not with you anymore. And it's not surprising that you went into that space of screw you, screw this love thing, and it's a very natural response. And really what it means is you're hurt. You wanted to feel fully chosen by this person. You wanted them to choose you instead of that other person, or you didn't like that it ended. And whatever the reason is, what I always tell people is the magical thing with love is there's a je ne sais quoi in it, as we say, something so intangible that you can't quite place your finger on, but it's chemistry. It makes you feel electric and all of the things, right?
Yep.
And on the flip side, there's never a guarantee in any marriage, relationship. Like, love will always be ageless and the most risk you can ever take, because you can strategize and you can say, you know what, I made sure we're in the same religion, values, all the things, right? I made sure everything's compatible, and I'm going to be the best person and partner to them, right? And that still may not keep the relationship together. And the reason, I think, I was at a seminar and someone said, I just need to know, what is the thing that keeps a marriage together? And I said, well, that's the wrong question, because recognize marriage is always a risk. Love is always a risk. And because it's another person, there's no way to say for sure that this marriage will be forever. Now, you can always set the intention. You can say, I am making the commitment to forever, but it bridges you and someone else. And so that person also has to make the commitment. That person also has to choose the relationship. And that's the part that we're actually saying screw to. It's not actually love. It's not actually the magic of that, we get to do things together. We have the companionship. It's that risk part that you're saying, screw that. I don't want to ever feel that again. And while it's very reasonable, I think one of the bravest things that we can do is continue to open our heart and love again and again and again, knowing love will break your heart, but you'll survive. And you'll start a positive talk radio show.
So what you're telling me is that even though I one time when I was a kid and I turned the oven or the stove on and I wanted to see which burner I had turned on, so I touched each one of them and burned myself. I never did that again because it hurt to do that. And so the love thing is the same
Which
thing.
in that case, that's learn from that.
Exactly.
But
Well, let me even go a little bit deeper for you. I told you that my high school sweetheart, who, by the way, ended up marrying that guy, and they had a beautiful relationship, had a couple of kids, and she has since passed away. And so, in hindsight, she made the right decision, and I can see that clearly now. But it took me 20 years to get to that place where I would say, that she was the love of my life, and that, and so, and nobody else can compare. But the other thing is that my wife left me for somebody that I knew before they knew each other, and I dated a girl who dated that I was dating before she knew the guy that I knew. We were friends, and she started dating him and left me, and that happened 4 different times in my life, where somebody that I knew came in and swooped out the girl from underneath, well, not underneath me per se, but I just swept her away. And so it became to a point where it's like, and when the last one took my wife, it was like, and he was well, I won't go there. This is positive.
Well, here's the thing, Kevin. And this is where to love with an open heart is hard, because it takes a lot of self-accountability. And here's the hard part in love is, that saying, wherever you move, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are, right?
That's it.
With you, and not even you, there's so many people that have experienced your same experience as well, over and over. And the common denominator is you. Now, while you could say, well, that sucks. Like, what am I supposed to do about that?
I did say that, as a matter of fact. Well, gee whiz, that sucks.
But here's the amazing thing. At least you can change you. At least you can start to question, what am I putting out there that is attracting this type of person that would walk away like that? And this is the tough part, because I always tell people, and I caveat this, when you have tea with yourself, essentially, when you ask yourself these harder questions, like imagine you are sitting with yourself over a cup of tea. and you're talking to a friend, not necessarily yourself, but you're having a conversation, right, with a friend, and just getting curious, what is it that you feel is attracting this type of person? And you may not have the answer for a long time, and that's okay. Because we are such vibrational beings. And you know how when you meet someone and it's just an energy and a joy that you can feel, and you haven't even met them by their name, you don't even really know the work they do, what they've been through in life, but you can feel this energy. This is beautiful when it's that attractive, joyful, playful energy, but we also bring that in romance. And there's a theory, which I would agree with, that Esther Perel, she's a relationship expert, very well-renowned, super researched over many cultures. And she will say, tell me how you grew up, and I will essentially tell you how you are in romance. And the reason that we get stuck in this pattern is something in that romantic partner is feeling so familiar to something in childhood, the way our parent or our main guardian was interacting with us. And until we recognize, not even necessarily dig in there. I mean, I say dig in there, learn it, try to understand it. But when we become aware, then we will actually start to shift things inside of us, which then shifts all the people around us. And then we start to become attracted to a very different type of person. And so this is the part that's tough, because it's actually easier to just say, you know what, screw this love thing. It's harder to say, wow, I'm the common denominator here.
Yep, I've thought of that, and I recognize that, and when we come back for our final break, it's just 30 seconds, so stay with us, everybody. But I want to ask Anya. By the way, she's a love consultant. Go to her website, which is consultwithanya.com, and when we come back, I want to ask you why it is that I kept, dating my mother. We'll be right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And welcome back to Positive Talk.
I love the music. It makes me want to dance.
Well, and you are a dancer too. You are in gymnastics, and you were a dancer, and you did both of those things, and were noticed when you did both of those things. But and I played that commercial just for you, the dating thing, and because most of the men that I talk to, when I play that commercial, I'll say, did you ever text somebody and ask them out on a date via text? And they said, oh, I'd love to go. Can we go tonight? Oh, no, that never happens.
I always say, instead of text, pick up the phone, call them, be old school. It's okay. The phone does ring.
Well, I have to tell you, I have two sons, and one of them is my good friend Kim. When she met him, said, "Oh, he's a pretty boy," and so he's very, very, 6-pack abs, good looking kid, and all that kind of. And I asked him one time, why do you text and not pick up the phone to call people? And he said, well, that way I can be having 4 conversations with 4 different girls at the same time.
How old is he? Or how old was he at that time?
Oh, he was teenager.
Okay. Yes. This makes sense.
And then I asked him when he was in his early 20s, I said, so what's it like for you when you ask a girl out on a date? And he said, I've never asked a girl out on a date. And I said, but you've always had a girlfriend or somebody that, well, they keep coming to me. So that was his deal. But for most men, it ain't that way.
Well, here's the thing about asking people out, because I think it's a beautiful thing to ask someone out in person, right? If you
Yes.
can't do that, pick up the phone, do a video call, a phone call. Last resort, text message via a letter format. So not just like, hey, will you go out with me? Give some poetry to it, if you will. So, because here's the thing, now in the dating culture, a lot of people see dating and life very, very separated. And it was never this way. Before the dating apps and even before really social media was such a big thing, people were in the market, they were at a concert, an event, and if they met someone, you would make eye contact and conversation, and it wasn't really about, am I going to go out with this person? It was more bump into someone at a cafe, oh, I like the way you're dressed, etc. And then maybe there was something where you realized, oh, I'm actually interested in this person. Hey, would you want to get a coffee? Hey, would you want to take a walk? The whole, oh, we need to go to dinner and we need to do this, fancy thing actually is a newer format for dating, if you will. And now the dating apps make it comfortable to not get rejected, where as humans, you were made to get rejected. You were made to put yourself out there and be a little brave and take the risk of asking someone out. And, maybe they say no, maybe they say yes. And that's the most beautiful thing ever. The dating apps have made it a little bit, and I'm not against dating apps. I think they have their place. But I always say, if you're going to be on the dating app, you still need to make eye contact with people in the market. You still need to compliment people. Actually, and I think the last time I spoke with you, I actually told you, it's coming back to me, to go to a coffee shop and start making eye contact with people and just start talking to people. I don't know if you did the homework.
No, I didn't do the homework because now I'm a 67-year-old dude and I don't want to appear creepy. You know what I mean?
So here's the thing. That's a very valid thing. Of course, we don't want to appear creepy, but giving a compliment and letting that compliment be without anything else is not creepy. And it doesn't even hold the door open for someone. You don't even have to say anything. We want to essentially create human interaction. So when you hold the door out open, someone goes through, if they're decent, they're going to say, thank you. You're welcome. That's a little moment of connection. And, I've had this question come up so many times when people are, they say, well, I can't afford a matchmaker, or I don't want to be on the dating apps. How can I put myself out there? And I always say, one, leave your house for sure.
You got to do that. You want to do that.
You got to leave your house at least once a day. And you need to go where there's traffic of people. Just before this show, I was working at a little cafe and I struck up a conversation with the couple next to me. And did I get their contact information? No, but that moment of connection, that moment of speaking to another human off of Zoom and just that, it's very important. And so that's why I always say, make eye contact, smile, hold the door open for someone, carry just be of service to people is really what it boils down to. But I feel like we had a question. What's your next question? Because I feel
Brachelle is with us. She just joined us on the telephone line. Brachelle.
Hello, Kevin. Hi, Anya.
Hi, Brachelle. I heard you were stuck in traffic.
Yes, I am. I'm trying to be happy about it, but I've been listening to the show, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to call Kevin and join them in and say thank you because this conversation is so powerful. And I've learned so much from you. And please come back so that I can do a show with you and Kevin again.
Oh, Brachelle, that's such a warm welcome. And honestly, you're stuck in traffic, but how cool is it that you get a phone, you can call in, we can still connect. And
Yeah.
I would love to obviously meet you over video and in person, but this is the best beautiful thing.
Well, and
Yes.
Rochelle, I think you know more about me than you did before now.
Well, I knew you'd answer me. So. I knew I should call.
Well, of course, and Anya is so talented at what she does. I was
Yes,
really
she is.
was hoping that you didn't get stuck in traffic because I could just sit here and listen to the two of you go.
Yes, you have no idea how many questions I wanted to ask. And yes, let's get together back all again because I want to meet in person and have a whole new conversation on wherever else it could go that's possible. So, but thank you for being here, Anya, and doing the show with Kevin. And thank you both for allowing me to say hello. I truly have been listening to the whole conversation, and I have never been so peaceful in traffic and not focused on other people. So
I love that.
and before you go, Rochelle, because we've only got like 3.5 minutes, ask her a question that is going to take less than 3.5 minutes to answer.
Okay, 3.5 minutes. Okay. Let's think. I'm trying to think of my first question. It was so simple but so good. I'm trying to remember what you guys
What
were
came
talking
top
about.
of mind for you?
Yes. Yes. Oh, it was what is one of your favorite experiences that you've had in the beginning of your journey when you started into doing this kind of work?
Ooh, that's a hard one to answer because there's so many beautiful moments. Honestly, what stands out, what like just jumps into my mind is I had a client that got engaged. And she sent me a picture of the man I had introduced to her, and he was down on one knee. They had gotten engaged in Nashville. They're from the Virginia area. And just seeing that photo, it was like, wow, I had a part in these two people meeting. That felt incredible. And it stood out to me because she had sent me a long text message about just sharing, about how she probably wouldn't have been open to him if she hadn't done the process. So it was very special. I could probably go, on and on about it, but it's something I think about often in the moments that, our job can be very tricky and hard at times, and there can be a lot of pressure, but I would say that's one that stands out as a magical matchmaking moment.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. You keep being that because I think some people truly do have that talent, and they will both remember you and be thankful when they look at each other. So that is extremely powerful, and that is the cutest thing I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Well, and I got to introduce the two of you, and who are going to have a great conversation the next time we meet. And Anya, your website again is consultwithanya.com. If you are interested in, and if you're not like me that says screw you and the horse you rode in on,
Even if you're like that, we can work on it.
contact Anya, and she can set you straight so that you want to dip back into the pool. I mean, I haven't dated since 20 years before she was born.
Well, Kevin, here's the thing. Here's what I would tell people who feel that way, right? Screw love. Is I would say, you know what? Start dating yourself. Start going out on solo dates once a week and creating that.
I tried that.
Energy.
I tried that. I went to a movie and I saw people looking at me going, "Oh, that poor man. He's all by himself."
No, don't care what people think.
So, but the other thing is that it doesn't matter romantically. I don't care, but as far as people go, I love people. I'm kind to everybody. I say hello to everybody I meet. So for me, that satisfies that innate desire. So so now Rochelle, we've blown it. I went over time, but in any event, Anya, thank you so much.
Thank
Go
you.
to her website again, which is consultwithanya.com, and you have to come back. So wait right there,
I
and
would love to. Thank you
I'll
so
be right back. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin at KM Media.